Hello CMA, this is Joel Tassiello bringing you another short tutorial. Today I want to deal with group texts and group emails through Gmail. I'm using Gmail specifically because it's free, and I've noticed that most chapters typically use a Gmail account for that. So as you can see here, I'm in my cma.ok.media email address, which is a great address if you would like to reach out and say, hey, I've got some questions about a tutorial that you made, or hey, this is a tutorial I'd love to see listed. Then that gives me something to work on or to correspond with you about. So let's bounce real quick. If you go over here to the Gmail and drop down to contacts, it brings up the contacts tab. Again, I have nothing in here on purpose because I want to be able to illustrate this process. So we're going to add a contact, and so to start off with, we're just going to add myself and then the email address that I just gave you, cma.ok.media@gmail.com, and click save. So there's only one contact right now in my contacts list, but while I'm here creating contacts, I want to add another one. And I would just suggest that you put a T, and I'll explain that here in just a moment, in front of anyone that you're going to be using an email address for their cell phones. Now up here at the top, I did already locate a web address called emailtextmessages.com. emailtextmessages.com. And this is the site here at the top. And as you scroll down, it shows U.S. and Canadian carriers. And so just about any carrier you can imagine that people would have for cell phones is going to be listed here. So every cell phone out there has an email address associated to that phone number. A lot of people don't understand that. And so my particular phone is on T-Mobile service, and so you can see it's the 10-digit phone number at tmomail.net. So when I go back to my contacts list, I'm using a T in front to differentiate between my regular email address that you see up here and the email address I'm going to use for my cell phone right here. So this would be the cell phone number at tmomail.net, and then click save. So now I have two completely different email addresses for the same person. One of them is going directly to a traditional email address. The other one is going to show up as a text message on my phone. So to illustrate that, if I go back now to the email page and let's compose an email, and I begin to type my name, there's that. And then when I type T, again, there's not a whole lot of listings there. It's all me. This one is for my cell phone. So I'm just going to do real quick, just say test and click send. And momentarily, I'm going to get both an email and a text message that both say test. Statistically, when somebody receives a text message on their phone, most people are going to check it within 10 seconds. So right now you see that I've got the email that's already showed up here in the email account, the test message that I sent, and I'm already receiving on my cell phone the same message that says test. So this is a phenomenal way to be able to get the word out to people that, yes, do use email, but others that don't necessarily use an email but carry a cell phone. Even if it's not a smartphone with an email app, they'll still be able to traditionally to receive text messages, and this is a great way to make that happen. I'd also like to point out that whenever you're making an email that's going out to a lot of different people, please utilize this that means carbon copy, or this one that means blind carbon copy. Anytime you're sending out emails to text or emails in mass, it's not just one person to one person, please utilize this blind copy. The reason for that is when the email is sent or the text is sent, it does not show all the addresses that it was sent to. This is important, that if in the event somebody gets disgruntled or decides they want to start their own chapter and pull from your group or any number of nefarious issues, it's just important that you keep that private. You don't want to publicize people's addresses that they've handed you in good faith to receive correspondence from you. You don't want to hand that to somebody else for their marketing purposes. So anytime you type an email address in here, it will not show up in the to list. It'll show up blind, so they have no idea who all is on that email. That is a phenomenal feature. You definitely want to use that when you're using email to text because everyone's cell phone numbers will be in there. People are very protective of their cell phones. So let's go back real quick to the Contacts tab. In the older version of Gmail, before they went to this new modern style, they had an option called Groups. And so you could put the members of your chapter in a group that's named the name of your chapter, and then you could also make an additional group, and we'll just say, for simplicity's sake, text, and then you know that whenever you select that group, that will be all the contacts you placed in there that have the T in front of it, so you know you're sending it to their text function on their cell phone. So in the new version, it's called Label instead of Groups. So we want to create a label real quickly, and we're going to call this label Text, and then I'm going to create another one while I'm here. My local chapter is Steel Horse Disciples, so I'm just going to put SHD for Steel Horse Disciples and click OK. Now, you see I have both of those labels listed here. So I can select right now for the Steel Horse. Oops, I apologize. I'm going to select here this email address to go to Steel Horse. And I do that by simply one time saying, hey, be in the Steel Horse group or label. So now that one's in there. The next thing I want to do is I want to select this one and say this one I want to be in the text group. Okay? So now I have this one in the chapter group and this one in the text group. So now when I go back to send an email, let's just assume that we have 50 people in each group. So now I'm going to send a message. Again, I'm going to use the blind copy because I don't need everybody pirating these email addresses or cell phones. So I'm going to select SHD, and if there were 50 people here, you would see a bunch of email addresses, but I'm just selecting the group, so everybody in the group is now going to be listed. But at the same time, if I wanted to make sure that everybody was knowing that we're having an event change or a date change, I can also type text, and all the 50 people that are now in this text group, I click that, and now they're all in there. So now when I say location change, and here's the details, that's going to go to everyone's email address as well as everyone's cell phone so they get it on a text message so that you see that they get them very, very quickly. Again, I hit send, and now I'm sending both the email addresses and the cell phone texts. It is a phenomenal feature. It's a great way to get the word out on a particular issue or event quickly. So I hope this has been beneficial to you. Again, if you have any questions, please hit me up at cma.ok.media@gmail.com. God bless you.